Don't you all see everything else is breaking apart? We can show people a new way of being.
Come back to me.
I love you.
A child and a country were born at midnight, once upon a time. And our lives have been, in spite of everything, acts of love.
I had the pleasure of watching your film yesterday. One of the things that struck me, I mean, as someone who hadn't read the book before going there, I just thought that, your view about post-independence, do you think that do you believe that nothing good has come out since India gained independence?
No, I mean, I think that's would be a very strange reading of the film. I mean, clearly, the idea of these magical children, was a metaphor for saying that this is a time of great potential, possibility. Magic things can happen.
We were born then in that first hour. We're like you. All of you? Yes. How can I hear you all? Salim has the greatest gift of all. He's the only one who can bring us all together.
And those children became, in the novel, and in the film, become the sort of embodiment of that. But also, you have to see that there's another current in the story of India, which is of a kind of, if you like, a disappointment or a betrayal of that possibility. And you hear people talking in India now about the levels of corruption and so on. You can see that there has been that disappointment continuing, even now, 30 years after the story. And the story of the film ends in about 1977, but the story of India obviously goes on. Mary knew she was condemning the rich-born boy to a life of poverty. Let the rich be poor, and the poor rich. I, Salim Sinai, mysteriously handcuffed to history, my destiny forever chained to my country's.
Great things in store for you, my son.
It was initially said that the film would not be released in India, but I heard some rumors that it has actually now been picked up by a distributor.
Yeah. I mean, those initial statements were always jumping the gun, because until we showed the film at the Toronto Film Festival, we really hadn't had a chance to talk to Indian distributors. And now, yes, PVR has taken the film, and that's a major distributor.
Yes.
And that they are hoping to release it as soon as possible. I mean, like before the end of the year, I hope.
Fantastic, because I thought it wouldn't be nice for Indians to not be.
No, horrible. Oh, no, of course. But there was always, I think both for Deepa and me, it's very important that the film should be widely shown in India.
Please describe the first emotion that you felt when you saw the movie for the first time, and why you decided to become so intimately involved with the film.
Well, I think the answer to the second part is that it's the first of my books to be made into a film. There's that. So, and I thought it would be awful to step back from it and go to the opening night and think, oh no, they've made a mess of it. I thought that would be my fault too. And so I thought, get involved, do everything you can. And after seeing the film, well, I remember when we first sat down, Deepa and I and the film editor, Colin Money, and we looked at all the rushes, I thought, we've got something special here, because it was quite clear that the film was just visually very beautiful. I mean, unusually beautiful. And then looking at the performances that the actors were turning in, I could see that the incredible passion and force of those performances. Seema Biswas as Mary Pereira, for instance, and Shahana Goswami as Amina Sinai, Salim's mother. There's some remarkable female performances in this film, I think. Shabana Azmi, Shreya Saran, there's a lot of women actors giving extraordinary performances. And so I could see from the beginning that we've got something special if we can just find the way to make it fit together, you know. And then it took a year in the cutting room, but that's normal.
Okay, so how difficult was the process of shrinking a 600, page book, and what to keep in and what to keep out? And was it a collaborative process with Deepa?
Well, I mean, Deepa's the director, so of course she's there at every stage. But I mean, basically it was my business to make the screenplay work. And, it wasn't as hard as you would imagine, because at the heart of the story is not just incidents or episodes, it's human beings. And as long as you know whose story you're telling, that's the question anytime you write, whose story are you telling? And the moment you know that these are the characters who are the heart of the story, and then you just focus on them and you try and make people care about them, and etc. And you know that you can't put in every episode from the book into the film. That doesn't matter. And I think as long as people are gripped by the human narrative, then they actually stop asking themselves all the time, how does it compare to the book? You want the film to have its own authority. And in the end, I mean, it's 2 hours, 10 minutes, whatever that is. I mean, it's quite long enough to tell the story.
A question that actually propped my mind was it difficult to cast such amazing actors all together? Because you see from Anupam Kher to Rajat Kapoor to Shabana Azmi to Seema Biswas.
Ronit Roy, all these people.
All these people.
Yeah, well, the thing is that everybody in India, Deepa and I went to Bombay for some weeks to sit down and just meet with a lot of the actors, and the truth is that there was so much passion for the book, that the actors were really desperate to be in it, and we said to everybody that, look, this is not a star vehicle. This is not the kind of movie that revolves around one big star or male and female star. Even the main character is played by two people, by a child actor and an adult actor. So nobody's the star, and everybody's the star. And we said to everybody, you have to approach it in that spirit. That nobody is the star and everyone's the star. It's an ensemble piece. And everybody got that, and everybody, parked their ego at the door, and just came to be part of this project. And I think everybody was proud to be part of it.
The film was undoubtedly shot beautifully. A real visual treat. Do you think that any other director, apart from Deepa Mehta, could have done it?
Well, I think certainly she did it. She and her lighting cameraman, because I think Giles Nutgens, who's lit also other films of hers. I mean, he also did Water, for instance. I mean, he is a kind of genius with the camera. And gave us a film that looks like we had 10 times the amount of money. He makes it look like a huge budget movie. And yes, I think it's unusually beautiful. And then I think the other layer that was put on that is Nitin Sawhney's music. I think when the music started coming in and we started laying the music on the film, it just lifted the whole thing, because there was so much depth of feeling in it.
Lastly, which other of your book can we see turned into a film?
I don't know. I mean, there's one or two that I think, I've always thought that Haroun and the Sea of Stories could be a film. I've always thought The Enchantress of Florence could be a film. Maybe Shalimar the Clown, I mean, I think there are two or three. Let's hope that this film inspires some other producers to come along and want to do some of the others.
Wow. Well, wish you all the very best, and thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Very quickly.